So we got a crowded shoe closet, and we decided to fix it. We turned it into this. Look at that. So much more room, same number of shoes. Hey, this is Harold Osmer, West Hills Wood. You hang on here for a couple of minutes. I'll show you how to do that and how we transformed our small closet into a big-time shoe closet. Be sure to subscribe to the channel now. That would be helpful. So there you go. There's a metal rack for shoes, and it's next to the mudroom. Of course, I'm dealing with engineers this time, so this is not my drawing. They made a drawing, and here you go. Not every woodworking project has to be overly complicated or super dynamic or wonderful joinery or anything like that. Much of it just needs to be practical. And so first thing you do with something like this, after you decide what you're going to do, is you make some parts. So these are our shelf supports. They're going to go on either side of the shelf. And, from this view, man, this looks scary. Well, I've got the guard up just so I could satisfy you guys. But, my hand's not nearly as close to that blade as it looks in this video. Anyway, so there's a block tied to my rip fence over there. That dictates just how wide these will be, so they're all the same width. And that's all we're really looking for. And once we do that, we're going to drill some holes so we can mount them on a wall. If you look real close at the ones on the right that they're stacked up, those holes are drilled down so they're a little off-center. This will make it easier to screw them to the wall, depending on how that was going to go. I wasn't sure if I was going to attach them to the shelves first or put them in place first. And I decided to put them in place first. Alright, so that's our supports. Now we need our shelves. This is MDF, half-inch MDF, medium density fiberboard. Works out well, and it's cheaper than plywood because plywood is amazingly expensive these days. Holy smokes, I should have bought a whole bunch of skinny trees back in the day when I had a chance. So here you go. Hey, I have a saw stop. All right. Now, one of the reasons I bought the saw stop was for that overhead dust collection thing there, and that thing works incredibly well. You still get a little bit of dust, but oh my, that's superior to my old unisaw in many ways, and I use that a lot. Now, the other thing that does, not only for dust collection, but it also really helps remind me to keep my fingers away from the blade. I know enough to do that anyway, but it's just helpful to have it there. It's easy to use, it's easy to take off when you need to, and it's great. So here we go. Ripping these panels down, pretty straightforward. When you're doing a lot of work like this, it's helpful to have someone on the other end to help stack them up for you. Moving this stuff around can be a little difficult, but my local Lowe's won't cut the MDF for me. So they won't even bring it down to size. We have to do all the sizing at our own shop. Yeah, that's how it goes. So now we have all our pieces, all our shelves are cut, and they're all real square rectangles, if that makes sense to you. Here's the back of the wall. Now, that's 33.5 inches. You can measure it that way, or you can do it this way. Take two sticks, reach it against one wall, reach it against the other wall, and then just measure from one end of the stick to the other end. Now the trick is, even though this is new construction in this house, the back wall is not straight. We had 33.5 on the back corner, and then up where the edge of the shelf goes, it was 34 inches. And both sides were slightly different from one another. So use a movable angle gauge, and you lay it up against your board, and you set it in place like that. And scribe your line. Now you can see on my chop saw here, I have a sliding arm chop saw, that I get this real nice shadow line for the blade on that. And so I can make those cuts on both sides. We added supports on the front and rear on those, because that's not going to support the shoes for very long. It's not a lot of weight, but you do want some support. And you find Dan. This is what Dan's for. get that little spacer, just decided this is how big we need, and then this is what you wind up with. It's pretty straightforward. As I say, a lot of woodworking is just making a functional piece, and that's what we did here. We decided how many steps we needed, how wide they needed to be, and we just put them together. You do need some support across these. That's what that front edge is for, and the back edge as well. We did not screw the back edge to the wall, although we certainly could have. And it loaded up real nice. Looks great. That's the same number of shoes as before. A more efficient use of the space. It's wonderful there for the mudroom. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to like the channel. Be sure to tell your friends. This is Harold Osmer, West Hills Wood. Send beer.